dears, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. I am Shannon, and today I have another book talk video to share with you guys. Before I get into that though, it's Thursday as I'm filming this, so it is American Thanksgiving. So to any of my American friends who might be watching, I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving. Here in Canada, Thanksgiving's more towards the beginning of October. So we've been done with that for a while now, but I hope you guys all had a great day filled with family and lots of great food and just a really good time all around. Also, I was into it today with my makeup, just playing around and having a lot of fun. And it wasn't until I came to sit in a more lit area that I could see how intense the eyeshadow I put underneath my eyes are. So we're going for a more dramatic look here today, and that kind of works because today we are talking about Evergreen Tidings from the Baumgartners by Gretchen Anthony. And this is one of the first Christmas books we're going to be doing this year. This one was sort of the least Christmas heavy, so I went with this one since we're still only in November, but it was a really fun read. And there was lots of drama. So I will say, from reading the back of this book, I kind of went into it expecting something a little different than what it was. In fact, there's one little blurb in the back that says it's full of laughs that doesn't let up. So because of that, I kind of went into it expecting a sort of like Stuart McLean or Emma Bombeck sort of vibe with like a really funny story. And it wasn't that. It definitely had some lines that made me chuckle for sure, but it wasn't the hilarious read I was anticipating. And that's okay. That's okay. So let's talk a bit about what this book is about. Also, I just love the title, Evergreen Tidings from the Baumgartners. Love that. So anyway, it's about a family, obviously, the Baumgartners. There is Violet and Ed. They are the matriarch and patriarch of the family. They have a daughter named Charisse, and their daughter, I think she's 30, and what the title refers to is every year she writes a Christmas letter, and that's how she begins it. So throughout the book, we're actually given glimpses into the family's past by way of past Christmas letters being inserted in between chapters. And I thought that was a really fun way to kind of get to know everyone a little bit more. Get to know what Violet and Ed were like as they were younger. Get to know what Charisse was like as a child through these letters. So this family, the mom and dad especially, they kind of remind me, if you've seen the Gilmore Girls, Violet Baumgartner is very much an Emily Gilmore type. She's, very serious. Although, to be fair, both of Emily and Violet, they definitely get those one-liners in there sometimes that are just A+. But, she's very serious, she's very composed, very regal. She has a lovely home that she's very proud of. She volunteers in the community. She does a lot of good work there. And then Ed is, he's kind of the quieter, more subdued of the duo. They love their daughter Charisse, and Charisse is actually, I think, the first character we meet in this book, and she has a partner named Barb, and they've been together for a few years. You kind of get the feeling that when Violet first heard about Barb, instead of kind of accepting her and realizing that Barb was Violet's partner, she sort of just thought they were good friends, but over time it's become clear to everyone that it goes deeper than that. And so what's about to happen at the beginning of this book, and actually no, I'm mistaken. The first person we hear from is Violet. And just let me read you how this book starts off, because it's a real kicker of a first paragraph, and it goes like this. One would think being treated like a daft old Betty by a police officer with mustard on his lapel would top Violet's all-time list of humiliations. But after the fall of Gomorrah she just witnessed, it barely registered. So you're like, okay, what just happened? And it just kicks off from there. So what's happening is Ed is about to retire. You know, he's worked hard his whole life. He's ready to retire. Violet is throwing him the mother of all retirement parties, and you know, it's exciting times. And it's around the holidays when this is happening. So this book is told from 3 different points of view. We get Violet's point of view, we get Charisse's point of view, and then we get the point of view of a neighbor and friend of the family named Richard. Richard is married to a woman named Eldris, and they have a son named Kyle. Kyle and Charisse are the same age. They grew up together. The 2 families kind of always thought that Kyle and Charisse would end up married, but of course, life had other plans for Charisse. So Eldris, as I said, is Richard's wife. She is friends with Violet. She's always kind of trying to keep up with Violet, but can never quite do it. You know, Violet's kind of got this very regal air. Everything she touches seems to turn to gold, and Eldris can't quite keep up, but she tries. Richard lost his job about a year ago, and so he's been trying to find ways to make money to be able to maintain the lifestyle that him and his wife have known for most of their lives. Then what happens at the retirement party is Kyle, the son of Eldris and Richard, he is engaged to a woman named Rhonda, who's kind of a local celebrity of sorts. She's a weather woman, and so Violet takes it upon herself to ask Rhonda if she would be the speaker at the party. And she agrees, and she's so excited because, you know, it's a local celebrity. It's just going to take the party up a notch. So on the night of the party, Rhonda's up giving her speech. Violet is standing sort of behind Rhonda to the side a bit, and Edward is up standing beside her. And during the speech, she mentions that Violet and Ed are about to become grandparents. And this causes Violet to, she's shocked. She doesn't know what Rhonda's talking about. She ends up dropping her glass, and she trips and falls and ends up hitting her head very hard. So much so that she ends up in the hospital for a few days. And the doctors she ends up with a concussion, and it's a whole thing. What Rhonda has just exposed is what we already knew, and that's that Charisse and Barb are expecting a child, and they're both very excited, and they were waiting for the right time to tell Charisse's parents. They didn't want to take the spotlight away from their dad at his retirement party, but Rhonda didn't know that. And Violet is kind of just gobsmacked that Rhonda had this information before she did. And this newfound knowledge kind of sends Violet into this kind of panic investigative FBI search to find out who the father is. She asks Charisse and Barb, and they won't tell her. She says, you know, we got pregnant. It doesn't matter where the sperm came from. The baby's going to be our child. And Violet is too nosy for that. Violet needs to know who the father is. So then a lot of the middle of the book, this is my one complaint about this book. The middle of it really, really dragged on for me. So we had the beginning with the party and everything, and that was fine. But then I found the middle to really drag. And, you know, while we're waiting to get confirmation of who the father is, Charisse's pregnancy, Violet, you know, doing things in the community, it was a bit slow. I think maybe like 50 to 75 pages could have been chopped out of this book, and it would have been okay. Because I found it wasn't until we started to near the end, probably the last third of the book, that I really, really started to love and care for these characters. Now, don't get me wrong, by the time the story ended, I loved them all and I cared a lot. But I found like it took me a long time to get there. So that's really my only complaint. So from there, there's all kinds of shenanigans, basically. And for me to sit here and tell you all of the shenanigans, we'd be here forever. But one of the major ones is eventually Barb's parents come to town to visit the baby, because once we start getting towards that final third, the baby's been born. His name is Adam. He's an absolute angel. And so then Barb's parents come to visit the baby. And we know through reading that Barb has a very strained relationship with her parents. She comes from sort of old money. She kind of describes her parents as very wealthy hippies. And we just know that she does not have a very good relationship with them. And, you know, Charisse and Violet and everyone's like, well, how bad could it be? And they're all looking forward to the visit. But then once the visit arrives, yes, it goes very poorly. Very poorly. So what ends up happening is Violet decides she's going to throw a party for everyone. So she invites Charisse and Barb, of course, and the baby, and then Barb's parents, and then the neighbors Eldris and Richard and their son Kyle. And immediately we see that Barb's mother, especially, she's pounding back the wines. And Barb's kind of like to Charisse, see, I told you, like, this is going to be messy. Hope you're ready for it. And then on the other hand, Barb's father is just very handsy. He's touching everyone and grabbing everyone, and it is not a good situation. Anyway, the evening really reaches its apex of chaos when at one point Charisse sees Barb's mother open up a pill and dump the pill into her own wine. And Charisse is kind of thinking like, wow, she's going real hard now. Wine wasn't enough. Now she's adding whatever, God knows what, into her own wine. And then as the dinner continues, Charisse starts to notice that Kyle's mom, Eldris, has gotten a little tipsy, and she's getting a little careless when she's picking up her own glass, because what she's actually doing is picking up Barb's mom's glass. And she is just getting really, really intoxicated, and she doesn't even know why, but Charisse knows, so she kind of whispers to Barb, like, I think Eldris drank your mom's wine, and I think your mom poured drugs into it. And it becomes, at one point, Eldris is sitting in her chair, and she's just slipping down the seat because she can't even sit up. So Richard eventually takes her home, but not before Eldris accidentally hits Violet's tray of, like, very gourmet food that she's bringing out to the table. There's like lamb and just beautiful vegetables, and Eldris accidentally hits the plate with her elbow, and lamb goes everywhere. Kyle jumps up to try to help, and as he pushes his chair back, it falls back, breaks the glass on her like china hutch. And Violet was not impressed. Meanwhile, the mystery continues. Who is the father? But I have to say, I was very sure who the father was throughout the entirety of the book. I don't know if it was supposed to be a big surprise, but oh, and here's a spoiler. If you don't want the spoiler, now's the time to jump out. But Kyle was the father. It was her, lifelong friend who she trusts more than anyone, aside from her parents and her partner. And she asked him if he would donate his sperm, and he agreed, with the knowledge that, he would just be godfather. He wouldn't have a parental role in the baby's life, and that's where the baby came from. So Violet, when she finally figures that out, she's kind of like, oh my lord, we're now tied to Richard and Eldris for our entire lives. So that's kind of the gist of the story. Throughout it, there's just a lot of beautiful family moments. And as I said towards the beginning, the chapters, some of the chapters are cut with old Christmas letters. And the first one, that was the one after Violet and Edward got married, and that one's fairly normal. But then as the letters are going on, she's saying things in these letters that you're just like, why are you telling this to a bunch of strangers? Well, not strangers, of course. The Christmas letters you send out go to friends and family, but it's like some really like intimate, weird things to be saying in your, annual Christmas letter. And then later we learn that she would write these letters every year, and she would have 200 copies printed, but that in her closet in her bedroom there was just boxes upon boxes upon boxes full of the unsent letters. So really the letters were just for her. She was able to slow herself down long enough to sit down and write the letters. If in her mind she thought, okay, this year we're sending out the Christmas letters. And it kind of just became, she showed Charisse the letters, and Charisse sat down and read them. and it's kind of just a portrait, kind of like a journal. You know how some people will journal? Well, these letters are kind of Violet's journal, and I thought it was lovely that she got to the point where she wanted to share that with Cherise. So there you go, you guys. That's kind of a look at Evergreen Tidings from the Baumgartners. It's a fun read. I'm pretty sure all of these Christmas books are going to conclude with me saying it was a fun read, because that's kind of the point of Christmas stories, right? You'll smile, maybe you'll shed a few tears. That's what I want out of a good Christmas story, whether that's a Christmas movie or a Christmas book. And like I said, this one seemed to be kind of the lightest on Christmas. It starts at Christmas and then it ends at Christmas, but then the rest of the book is the year in between. So there you go, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I believe this is Gretchen Anthony's debut novel, in which case that's great. Fantastic. Congratulations, Gretchen. I always love hearing of authors making a lovely debut, because isn't that just the dream? For me, at least. If you've read this book, let me know in the comments down below. Did you like it? Did you find it a little slow at parts like I did? Or did that not bother you at all? I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Anyway, you guys, I hope you have a great weekend. And again, happy Thanksgiving, American friends. I hope you had a great day. Bye.